know what time it is.
What you want, what you want, what you gonna do when Sheriff John Brown come for you?
Yeah.
SveNFL, baby.
Yeah, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys. Yeah.
SveNFL in the house, baby.
Yeah, you know what's up. It's fucking summertime. It's bad boy time.
Yeah, man.
These motherfuckers got too much time on their hands. They're out here getting into motherfucking trouble. None other than like waking up this morning to Marshawn Lynch. DUI.
That hurts, man.
I mean, actually, well, it was yesterday, but
You can't be fucking
yesterday
up
or
your
the day
chicken.
before, but the video.
Don't be fucking up your chicken, man.
He, what was it? Oh, the video came out today. You can see it on TMZ. There's a video of him being very calm. He looks more stoned than drunk. Maybe he's both. I don't know.
They didn't say, but it's just DUI. That doesn't mean...
Correct. Right. You can
It's
be
not
under the
always alcohol,
influence
yeah.
of all kinds of things.
Because they also have DWI, driving while intoxicated. What's the difference?
You
I
know,
guess intoxicated is actually alcohol, right?
I think DWI is more severe.
Okay, driving while
Like it
intoxicated.
may, yeah, I'm not sure.
Because DUI could be took some NyQuil.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's a broader
Yeah.
driving. Well,
I don't know.
I'm not a lawyer, clearly. But I know Marshawn Lynch probably needs one.
Well, I was just thinking that a DUI probably refers to under the influence, but a DWI would be intoxicated or impaired. Then a DUI means under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
that's my guess right there.
Yeah.
It's not like I Googled it or anything.
Speaking of, this just popped into my head. What's his name? Who's the guy? I always.
Oh shit! It says drugs like prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs can also lead to a DUI.
Okay. Who's the guy that we talked about a while back? Played for the Ravens.
Ray Lewis. No,
The guy whose girlfriend or wife
Ray Rice.
followed him to a room where he was running
twin,
train with his brother,
Yeah.
and she is it. What's his name?
I forget. Yeah, but
It's in the news.
She was gonna. And he was just like, "This, it's our business."
he was fucking some other chick, and
Yeah.
she followed him on his Snapchat. Damn it, what's his goddamn name? He was in the news. Earl Thomas, thank you. Earl Thomas.
Oh, yeah, the former Seahawk.
Former Seahawk, but he's also a former Raven.
He played for the Ravens.
Yeah. Earl Thomas, this came out 7 hours ago. Home caught fire, struck by lightning. This motherfucker's house got struck by lightning and just went up in flames. So that's not technically a bad boy thing, but
Wow.
but it's just a crazy story.
That is crazy.
I just saw it this morning.
Do you think that he said like the Lord's name in vain or something like that?
Maybe. Or maybe he did that thing where he was cheating on his girlfriend again, right? Okay, here it is. He's cheating on his
I see where you go.
He's cheating on his girlfriend, and his girlfriend's like, "Motherfucker, you cheating on me?" He's like, "No, I swear to God, if I'm cheating on you, baby, may this house be struck by lightning."
And then
Right? That seems logical. There you go. See?
the Sound Lounge.
We'll be messing with the sound lounge now. Earl
the
Thomas
closest we got to-
out here running train, getting struck by lightning. These two things are not at all connected. I just thought it was a crazy story.
Wow.
Crazy.
I would. Is it on a hill?
I don't know. It's somewhere in Texas. I saw it. I didn't even see where it was in Texas.
It's their grid, man. Texas got their own electrical grid.
Yeah, man, you gotta watch out, bro. There's a lot of open space in Texas.
I was in Texas on that road trip, and I went to this place called the some type of caverns, and it's like underground and
Carlsbad Caverns?
no,
That's New Mexico. I know what you're talking about because they have the same thing in New Mexico. When you go down and they got all those fucking stalactites and stalagmites and shit. This shit is crazy.
It
It's
was
cool.
so cool, man. And it's been preserved all of these years. And like they were saying, like don't touch anything. And Bash immediately tried to climb onto one. Of
course,
they were like, dude, like the guy looked like I can't fucking believe you did this.
I have to touch it. You just told me not to. If you didn't say anything, I never.
We had to stop him. The dude explained like you can go to jail for this shit. Like this is like protected stuff. I was like, Bash, don't touch anything else. Sorry, man. He's Swedish. They don't give a fuck.
He doesn't. He does not
rules.
speak the English.
They don't do rules in Sweden. Kids run that country. Sorry.
That's just the truth, bro. Don't even get me started on that shit. Fucking Swedish kids.
Oh man. So what else going on with these bad boys, man? Speaking of bad boys, that's my bad boy story about my son being a bad boy,
right?
Climbing on stalagmites.
Terrible. Let's completely change my opinion of your son. I can't trust him. Where to start? Well, we have 3 major bad boy stories to get to. Lots of updates. I'm thinking we start with Dan Snyder.
Okay, I was gonna say the owners. We gotta go for the owners.
I think we start with Dan Snyder.
Fuck that guy.
So here's basically what we missed. Congress has obviously been hustling them, trying to get them to show up and testify. There's been this committee that's been looking into the workplace issues at the Washington Football Commander or whatever the fuck. Goodell.
Commander.
Yeah, exactly. Goodell eventually did agree to testify back in June. This was like right after we took break. And he testified via Zoom. Dan Snyder went a different route. He jumped on his private jet and flew to his private yacht, $200 million yacht, and then basically went on to pretend like he didn't have an internet connection. It was just like cruising around Southern Europe on his yacht.
What?
And Congress issued a subpoena for him to appear eventually.
Wow.
And during the time when he
used his yacht to get out of
he basically did that thing that billionaires do where he's like, I'm in international waters, you can't touch me. That was his basic move. Meanwhile,
he's a habitual line stepper.
Meanwhile, the sort of head of this committee that's looking into this introduced 2 bills inspired by the Washington Commanders' workplace dysfunction, aiming at restricting the use of non-disclosure agreements in an employment setting. She also introduced a bill regarding the use of images obtained of employees within the course of their employment, presumably to prevent the owner of said companies from making soft porn edits of women while they are changing their clothes, as we all remember from the Washington cheerleader scandal. Crazy that a law like that doesn't already exist. Yeah. But what the fuck do I know?
They're probably like, we don't need to.
You needed to put out a law that says, hey, you can't make naked videos of your employees. Like, really? That needs to be a thing?
It should just automatically be illegal, right? Right? Isn't it? Oh.
It's crazy. During this time, while Dan Snyder was out gallivanting on his yacht, we learned more details about the sexual misconduct allegations that led to a $1.6 million settlement. This is a woman who was trapped on a private plane with Dan Snyder when he tried to rape her.
What?
On a private plane. She claims that she was on a private jet with Dan Snyder and he tried to rape her. How fucking terrifying is that?
Oh my God.
Like, that's like, there's nowhere. Where do you go?
How did she get out of it?
I think maybe she put up a fight of some kind and just like it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know all the details. I just know that it was an attempted rape and apparently it was serious enough to where he had to settle.
This is a sick Negro.
Mm-hmm. The Oversight Committee in Congress also uncovered that Dan Snyder, which we knew a little bit about this, but now it's more or less confirmed, was using a shadow investigation to discredit and blame other people. The dude basically compiled a hit list full of information in an attempt to go after his enemies.
Wow.
Right? This is what sparked, when they figured this out, that was actually what caused the committee to issue the subpoena. And instead of showing up, Dan Snyder put out a press release. This is so rich. They put out this press release. The Commanders basically would very much appreciate it if you would quit pointing out what a mess the organization used to be up until recently. Snyder, he puts out this press release. It might be the most delusional thing that I've ever seen in my life. It says this, quote,
"Get over it."
Quote, some of the comments in the media have portrayed our team in a harsh and negative manner that does not reflect who we are as an organization today. We feel these continuing criticisms fail to recognize and greatly undervalue our daily commitment to excellence in the workplace.
Fuck out of here.
We believe the statements that have been made in the media critical of our organization do not accurately reflect our positive transformation and the current reality of the Washington Commanders organization that exists today. Such statements do a disservice to the nearly 300 Commanders employees who are feeling greater pride in the team today than any time in recent
2 weeks
history
ago.
because they are part of an organization that is getting it right and setting a league-wide standard on the issues raised by the committee. What the fuck kind of statement is that, Dan? No. You are doing a disservice to the nearly 300 Commanders employees.
Exactly.
And I have to believe that if we put you on a rocket ship and shot you off to the moon, never to return, they would be happier than a bunch of fucking pigs and shit.
Oof.
Don't you think?
Yes.
What kind of crazy shit is that?
Bullshit, man. Oh man, this dude is the worst.
Okay, so the funniest thing, one of the funniest things that happened because of this yacht business is that, I don't know if you saw this story, but there was an actual like Washington fan who he's just fed up. He's done. He hates Dan Snyder so much, and somehow, I don't know how he figured this out, but the information related to like flight patterns of private jets and also private boats and yachts, all that information, it's publicly available through this one particular website where you can track where different things are going. So this guy basically figured out how to track. He started a Twitter account called Dan Snyder. I forget what it's called. It's like at Dan Snyder's yacht or something like that, where he was able to keep track of Dan Snyder while he was dodging Congress. And it became like this kind of thing where people, and there was even one case where some guy who was following it just happened to be in the town in southern Italy where the boat was and went down to the harbor and was like, holy shit, it's there. And he took a picture of it and posted it on Twitter. It was like, it was hilarious. There's actually a great article in The Ringer that I think kind of sums up the whole Dan Snyder situation for anybody who's interested. The title of it is like, Dan Snyder is sailing away from consequences that might never come. Because it's not like, there's not a whole lot you can do to this guy. But it has a really great paragraph in this article where it says, some owners oversee unsuccessful football teams. Others are off-field embarrassments. Snyder is both. Before Snyder entered the picture, the Washington NFL franchise was one of the most successful in the league, winning 3 Super Bowls from 1982 to 1991. From the time of the AFL-NFL merger until Snyder bought the team in 99, Washington had the 4th most playoff wins of any franchise. Since then, however, it has won just 2 playoff games, none since 2006. Damn. So I continue to argue that I do not understand. Like, of all the owners, again, how many times have we had this conversation? All the owners are a little shady, but of all the owners in the NFL, like, why wouldn't you try to go for this? Why would you not try to get rid of this guy? Like, what does he offer you? Because it's not like he offers you a successful football team, which is really all the NFL truly cares about.
But they do. But the owners, though, they look out for each other. This little club they're in, man.
That's true.
Such a little small circle, and billionaires think they're above the law. Look at Donald Trump, man.
And they are.
Motherfuckers stealing nuclear codes, man.
Dude, they think they're above the law because they are above the law.
Yeah.
So, they have reason to believe that because it just happens to be true. Which kind of brings us to our next bad boy. Stephen Ross.
My guy.
The ending of this story has a very interesting conversation to have regarding the NFL and how they truly treat these people. This one kind of came out of nowhere, and we'll get to next up will be the Deshaun Watson thing. But the interesting thing is that the announcement of the Deshaun Watson suspension drops, and everyone's like, whoa, shit, fuck. Like everyone's like, trying to just dissect it and figure it out. What was it? 48 hours later? They're like, oh, by the way, Stephen Ross is suspended 6 games for tampering with Sean Payton and Tom Brady, which was a story that it was really kind of a conspiracy theory for a long time.
That Brady was going to be part owner after retiring, that whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And apparently this wasn't like they just did this once. They did this twice. They did it with Brady while he was with the Patriots, and then they tried it again the year after the Bucs won the Super Bowl, which I don't know how Bucs fans feel about that. Maybe they don't care, but I don't know. I just feel like that's kind of weird. So it turns out, surprise, surprise, everything Brian Flores said was true. Shout out to motherfucking Brian Flores.
Wait. Is that they said that it was they proved that it was true?
Well, we're gonna get to that. So the tampering part, the NFL basically said yes.
Yeah.
This happened. What is it? 8-game suspension for Stephen Ross and some money. Yeah. Which is like, he's already known as an absentee. He's already known as an absentee owner, so who fucking cares?
They say he can't be there. He can go to games though, but he can't be on the day-to-day stuff.
He shouldn't even be able to do that.
He's not even down there.
Brian Flores. So basically what happened was, the gist of it is that Ross was found guilty for tampering, but when it came to this is insane. When it came to the offering Flores money to tank, the NFL decided to believe Stephen Ross,
exactly,
who claimed he was joking.
He said he was joking.
It was a joke.
Hey man, I'm joking.
I wasn't being serious. Oddly enough,
he said he never said that.
But here's the thing: in the report, it says that it literally says that because Flores didn't accept the money to do the tanking, then that proves that there was that they didn't actually try to tank. So the only reason Stephen Ross didn't get in trouble is because Brian Flores has too much integrity. So had he taken the money, the league would have had to either...
Well, he wouldn't have told on himself.
No, exactly. He wouldn't have told on himself.
So it's like a loophole.
Insane.
Of truth.
So he basically got saved by Brian Flores.
But yeah,
Flores' statement was quite interesting. He says, quote, "I'm thankful that the NFL investigator found my factual allegations against Stephen Ross are true. At the same time, I am disappointed to learn that the investigator minimized Mr. Ross's offers and pressure to tank games, especially when I wrote and submitted a letter at the time to Dolphins executives documenting my serious concerns regarding this subject at the time, which the investigator has in her possession. While the investigator found that the Dolphins had engaged in impermissible tampering of unprecedented scope and severity, Mr. Ross," and that's in quotes, by the way, that's what it says, unprecedented scope and severity.
Wow.
Mr. Ross will avoid any meaningful consequence. There is nothing more important when it comes to the game of football itself than the integrity of the game. When the integrity of the game is called into question, fans suffer and football suffers.
God. And this dude's not a head coach.
Exactly.
He's a assistant linebackers coach.
Mm-hmm. Stephen Ross
just gets off, basically.
Stephen Ross also issued a statement, which is only the second most insane statement released by an owner this summer. This one sounds like it was written by Trump in a way. it's got the same kind of logic. He says, quote, the independent investigation cleared our organization of any issues related to tanking and all of Brian Flores' other allegations. As I said all along, these allegations were false, malicious, and defamatory, and this issue is now put to rest. With regard to tampering, I strongly disagree with the conclusions of the punishment. However, I will accept the outcome because the most important thing is that there are no distractions for our team as we begin an exciting and winning season. I will not allow anything to get in the way of that. First of all, the report never it
never says that.
It did not say that these allegations were false, malicious, and defamatory. It said that they were all true. And even with the one regarding the paying for tanking, they still say in the report that
didn't take the money,
that he said the only reason you said it. You said that we should value draft picks over wins. Yeah. And that you would be willing to, you said you would be willing to pay actual money to do that. And I personally think that the only reason the NFL is coming down on Stephen Ross's side on that particular issue is because if they don't, considering the connection that the league now has with the gambling, this would unleash all holy hellfire.
Yeah, but he didn't do it, though. If they would have lost on purpose, that's when...
I know that, but I'm saying if they decide...
So there's no need for them to take your side.
I know that, but think about in what universe does this work in real life, right? Like, we have crimes that you can commit where you actually didn't go through with it, right?
Yeah.
Such as attempted murder.
Yeah.
Or, like, let's say, you come to me and ask me to kill your wife, right? But we get caught.
Yes, nobody
because
died.
Just because I didn't kill her doesn't mean you're not going to jail.
Right. Yeah. You tried to hire a contract killer.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or you ask a police officer.
Or if I'm an undercover cop.
Yeah, a police officer.
And I have no intention of killing your wife at all. You still committed a crime.
And some of those To Catch a Predator guys.
Exactly.
They've been talking to a cop the whole time. And in some states, they go to jail.
It's insane. The logic behind why they're not punishing him for that is only related to that it does too much damage to the league, to the shield, to the integrity of the game, to even admit that might have actually been a real attempt.
But I think that you ensure integrity by holding people accountable and showing that you care.
Yeah, but that's...
It's like we found out this and we took action. Look at us. Pat yourself on the back.
I agree with you, but I think that's because you and I have actual integrity. So,
Yeah.
Speaking of no integrity, Tom Brady escapes all punishment in this Dolphins scandal.
Yeah, he's thrown away a cell phone before.
Yep. So...
Just throwing it out there. That says he didn't deflate any balls.
So here's why the NFL won't penalize the quarterback for tampering. It's sort of like...
Well, that ain't his fault. He's not the one that has the... He
Right.
doesn't have a responsibility.
So it's sort of like the way they handle prostitution in Sweden, right? It's illegal to buy it, but it's not illegal to sell it, right? So in this situation, Brady is the prostitute. He's the whore.
I just want to call him a whore.
He's the one who has cocks in his mouth.
Yes.
And I guess he's a sex worker.
Sex
worker is the preferred nomenclature.
Yes.
Correct?
No. Yes.
I don't want to get canceled.
Exactly. The last prostitute I met was like, sex worker? Stop calling me.
Last one you met. I love it. So what happened was at the most recent owners meeting, Roger Goodell said that tanking clearly did not happen in Miami, despite the fact that Stephen Ross clearly tried. Unlike the real world, there's no punishment for this attempted in the league. There's no punishment for this attempted crime. Yeah. So.
And what's his name reneged on his statement, right? Hugh Jackson.
I'm not sure how he factored into this at all, actually. His name didn't come up.
Because I remember he was going to join the lawsuit, right?
I don't think he did, though.
They're trying to do class action, but then he reneged on because he had tweeted.
Because he took the money.
Yeah.
He realized, like, oh, shit, hold on. Did I say that?
He took less money, too.
I mean, instead of like going out there, Stephen Ross, and saying that Brian Flores has like insulted and defamed your character, you should be sending him a fucking gift basket because he's the only reason that you're not being, that you too, like Dan Snyder, are not under some kind of federal congressional investigation. Because if he had taken the money, I'm telling you, bro, you'd be in the crosshairs right now. So you think what you want to think, but Brian Flores saved your ass.
Thankfully, he had integrity.
Thankfully. I hope that translates to him scoring another head coaching job somewhere down the road. Like, fuck, bring him to the Falcons. Mr. Do-Gooder, Arthur Blank over there could hire him. So that's Stephen Ross. That's your owner.
All right, well, that's it for the bad boys. It's a good episode, and there's nothing else.
Oh, there was that one other guy.
Oh, there's another bad boy?
There was that one other guy.
I can't. Nothing rings. Nothing.
He's he has a thing for massage therapists. That guy. What's his name?
Bill Cosby. William H. Cosby.
Yeah. So, okay, a few interesting things happened leading up to where we are now with the Deshaun Watson situation. Uh-oh. My favorite thing that happened was his lawyer. He did this interview. This was not long after we did our last episode, and I felt like this was too insane to not mention.
Okay.
His lawyer, Rusty Hardin, did a podcast interview.
Oh,
first mistake. Okay.
Exactly.
He does a podcast interview where he says, I'm just going to read the quote.
Okay.
I don't know how many men out there now that have had a massage that perhaps occasionally there was a happy ending. Maybe there's nobody in your listening audience that ever happened to. I do want to point out, if it has happened, it's not a crime, okay? Unless you're paying someone extra. So to give you some type of like sexual activity, right? Just to do that on it's not a crime. Doing something or saying something or being in a way that makes you uncomfortable is not a crime. So, which I was like, when he said, I heard, I'm sorry, what? What did you just say?
How could he do that?
He basically was trying to argue that getting a happy ending from a massage in and of itself is technically not a crime unless you're paying extra for it.
I get what he's saying, but it's still. So what?
24 hours later, someone in his legal department clearly hit the oops alert. And he came out with this statement saying that, well, the happy ending remark was used like hypothetically. I was saying that hypothetically. He says on a Houston radio show interview today, I mentioned that a massage that has a happy ending is not illegal, meaning it's not illegal for someone to have consensual sex with a therapist after a massage, unless the sex is paid for. Deshaun did not pay anyone for sex, by the way. Not like, why would you want your lawyer? You got to imagine Deshaun Watson is like, dude, what the fuck? Shut up.
Lawyers, man.
What? You're not supposed, when you're the lawyer, you're not supposed to be the story. Okay. We got a big enough problem over here. You need to shut the fuck up.
On a side note, speaking of asshole people, Alex Jones just got hit with that. He had to pay.
That's the best story of the summer. I love it.
Just under $50 million to the people when he's pretending that he believed that they were. Yeah,
fuck that guy.
These were one of the worst people in the world. These 6-year-olds were murdered by this psychopath, and he's pretending that the parent that it didn't happen, and made so much money off $800,000 a day. His InfoWars makes.
He's the worst person in the world.
He's the worst person in the world, and he. I mean, I know $50 million is probably nothing to him, but he had to pay his family, and it's not even enough.
It's not even over, it's not even over yet. There's like three more. Yeah. There's 3 more. So,
but did you see what happened in his trial?
Oh yeah,
his lawyer accidentally sent his phone records.
Yes.
To the other lawyer, to the prosecution team, and he found out about that on the stand. It is amazing.
And now those phone records are being sent up to the January 6th investigation as well. This
people
fucking guy, I hope he spends the rest of his life in legal trouble.
Yeah, it's insane. But yeah, that makes me think lawyers fucking up, man. 'Cause that's somebody that had to be like, man, what? You mean to tell me?
Yeah. So his lawyer kind of fucked up on that. New lawsuits popped up while we were away, claiming that Deshaun Watson.
It's up to 27 now, right?
Yeah, something like that. They had that great New York Times report,
Yes.
which came out. I think we mentioned that.
Yeah.
66 different massage therapists over the course of 17 months.
That's reasonable.
And also the Texans, allegations that the Texans had sort of enabled this behavior as well.
That's when the NDA, they created an NDA for him.
Exactly. The Texans got added as a defendant to the Deshaun Watson lawsuit as well. And this happened, as you said, because the Texans head of security, after the very first allegation. So the first massage therapist, she sent him a message. She sent Deshaun Watson a message after all this shit went down and said, hey, I could really fucking burn you for this. Like she was pissed and she was like, trying to flex back at him. And that's when the head of the Texan security gave Watson a non-disclosure agreement that he went on to use with all of his massage therapists. So to me, as far as the Texans are concerned, it stands to reason that they knew exactly what was going on the entire time.
How can this not be seen as a predator?
Yeah. And the deposition, like all the things that we learned through looking through the depositions when they were released, was that Watson used a team-paid suite at the Houstonian Hotel, Club, and Spa to do some of these so they're in on this as well. They were smart and settled. As soon as their name popped up, they settled with everyone. Unlike Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
they were like settled.
His mom
here.
didn't raise.
No, exactly. His mom didn't raise a predator. Apparently, that's.
It's
evidence.
no. Apparently, she did, and it has nothing to do with her.
And it was
has something
funny.
to do with you.
The
Just happen to be a predator.
The Texans' statement was hilarious. They were like denying knowledge of any of Watson's alleged misconduct. The Texans say they chose to resolve the claims amicably, but denying knowledge while also,
paying up,
hooking a brother up with NDAs doesn't quite square, in my opinion. Now, on to the lead up to the punishment. Reports were claiming that the NFL would probably be seeking a 1-year suspension for Deshaun Watson. The NFLPA were planning to defend Watson from the suspension by targeting how lenient the NFL had been when owners got in trouble.
Ooh!
Just when you thought the league couldn't inadvertently add more shit to this pile.
Ooh!
As horrible as this sounds, the NFLPA is 100% correct.
Oh my God.
Now, before anyone overreacts, the NFLPA is required to defend Watson. Okay? They're required to defend him. And they're going to argue that whatever punishment Watson faces isn't the same as how the NFL treats, the team owners, because it says in the bylaws that I think it even says in there that the owners should be held to an even higher standard than the players, right?
Look at the PA. Look at this.
And these are these phrases that are in there. I mean, these are like the kind of lock up your daughter's paragraph that was invented for guys like Dan Snyder, Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones. All three of these, pieces of dog shit have been tied up in a number of different scandals. And yet they very rarely face any meaningful punishment. Sometimes none at all.
When has an owner been punished? Besides this Stephen Ross with this smack on the wrist bullshit.
I mean, they punished Dan Snyder by saying he can't manage the team, and they've fined him $10 million. Who else? Jerry Jones has never been punished for anything. Who else who got punished? Somebody else. Robert Kraft got in trouble for the rub and tug.
What happened to him? What was his punishment?
I think it was money. It was just money. And then they went and destroyed the tape for him. So that was...
Exactly.
So it says here, the NFL personal conduct policy claims that owners are held to a higher standard. In the Watson case, this is like shooting yourself in the foot. You're going to hold Watson to the same standard as Robert Kraft? Because that's the most similar comparison.
Exactly.
Right? This guy went...
Nothing happened, right?
And paid to get jerked off at a massage parlor. Remind me, how many games did Robert Kraft get suspended for in that?
Nothing.
Nothing, as far as I remember.
He didn't get it. they said the video wasn't lawful, so it wasn't permitted.
Right.
The video with him getting
And then it got destroyed.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, as the ruling appeared to be like imminent, as far as like the announcement of the suspension, Watson, after refusing to settle any of these cases, suddenly
Hold up. I'm
started
sorry.
settling cases.
Hold that thought.
Yeah. What does it say?
There were women charged in the massage parlor prostitution sting with the Robert Kraft.
So they got charged and he didn't.
And they were ordered to pay fines.
They got charged for jacking him off and he got nothing.
And all charges were dropped against him.
So there's your standard.
Fuck
The NFLPA is saying, hold Deshaun Watson to the same standard as Robert Kraft. He gets 0 game suspension. That was what they were arguing. We don't think he should get any games suspended. Not a good look for the league.
Damn, there's so many. All I see is a bunch of hit pieces in there about the NFL and not punishing Robert Kraft.
Yeah. So,
wow.
As the ruling appeared...
No, I'm not, and I think Deshaun Watson needs help.
Oh, yeah.
I think he obviously has some type of kink/fetish, and it's a power thing, and that he needs some therapy or some type of help.
For sure.
He's a predator. He doesn't seem to understand that he's a predator. I think he needs help, and a year off of football might help him with that too. But if they never give him consequences, he's not going to think he did anything wrong. I think he honestly believes he did nothing wrong. Like these women wanted to do it. Like it's something in there.
I actually don't know if I can go that far.
You think he knows and he just doesn't want to get in trouble?
Yeah.
I think he does.
Until
or maybe now he knows, but deep down inside he knows type of thing. I'm thinking he's like, what do you mean? They wanted to. I'm fucking rich and famous, and I'm in this massage thing, and I'm giving them money. Huh?
I have a hard time imagining that he doesn't know right from wrong. I guess that's where I can't go there. I think he knows right from wrong, and I think he's an opportunist. I think he used his money and his position and his power to get what he wants, and I think that works for him a lot of times. And out of those 66 massage therapists, I have no doubt that he consensually perhaps fucked some of them. Like some of them were like,
this is good looking.
I'll fuck this guy.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I could, hang out with him or, whatever. I don't know. I'm sure there might be people like that. Because, there were massage therapists who defended him.
Yeah. And he probably had good massages.
Sure.
With no hand, that's not sexual.
Yeah.
But I think he's got a problem.
I agree with you that he has a problem, but I think I think he's gonna need. I feel like he is gonna need some type of therapy to understand how wrong it is, or like sure.
Like I don't think like Louis C.K. for example. I don't think he. He eventually came around and understood that he. But at first he was just thinking like, I took my dick out. Asked her, but not understanding the power part of it. Like asking her is still wrong. You know what I mean? Yep. Like he found out that part later. You know what I mean?
Sure. That's
an example I can think of. I know how you feel about that situation too.
And I can say that, being in the circle of like, when you're in the midst of like kind of a situation where you become kind of a celebrity of sorts. I've never been that famous necessarily, but I have been in situations where
you got a hand job in Spain.
No, where you can see a scenario where you're like, I could really take advantage of this situation right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's on like a low level of celebrity for me. For someone like Deshaun Watson, so that part I can understand. Right. But I don't think that necessarily means that he's incapable of understanding right from wrong.
Yeah, and then when you listen to that New York Times, the Daily, when he has a routine and he has a strategy, and like reaching out, DMs, small towel, like it's a pattern.
Totally.
That makes me,
and that's very detailed in the report as well. It's
a pattern, and I also feel like the part about the courts, like. trials and punishment and all that is a form of rehabilitation, and it seems like he's not going to get it if he's not deemed to be wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And it's just like, is he going to go back and be better at NDAs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is he going to keep doing this?
I personally, back to the NDA thing, like, I don't even understand why people are allowed to use NDAs like that. I mean, that shit is fucked up. Like, if you need especially in this situation, if you need an NDA to give to a massage therapist, your team has people who are hired to give you actual sports massages. Yeah. You don't have to reach out to these random chicks, half of which weren't even licensed massage therapists yet.
Oh, they're like in school and stuff like that?
Yeah. Like they were working towards getting
like
their
on
massage.
The side, yeah. And it's that on people that are powerless.
Yeah, exactly. It's
and I want to know how many male masseuses did you hire? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you really need a massage so bad. Why don't you? No guys, not one guy. It's 66 women.
Mm-hmm.
So it was not about the massage.
No,
it was about the
definitely not
predatory behavior, man.
So he starts settling cases after refusing to settle them. Like suddenly, it's like boom, 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 boom. It's like overnight. 23 of 24 lawsuits were settled. And then within a matter of days, the news drops. Deshaun Watson suspended 6 games, no fine, loses $345,000 due to the way the Browns structured his deal. And the idea would be that they get him back in week 7, just in time for them to play the 2 of their biggest division rivals, the Ravens, and then a matchup with the Bengals, followed by a week 9 bye week. In my opinion, the NFL only had themselves to blame.
Yep.
Based on the judge's ruling, when you read it and you go into it, which I've read this full, it's like 16 pages. It's not that long. She looked at past punishments from similar behavior and felt that a 1-year suspension would be inconsistent with the way that the league has punished other individuals for similar offenses.
It's not like he's gambling.
Exactly. Rapey Roethlisberger got 6 games reduced to 2. Jameis Winston got 3 games back when he was with the Bucs for touching an Uber driver. Antonio Brown got 8 games, but he had multiple issues going on at the same time. The report that came out was pretty fascinating, actually. I mean, she goes through so the most important thing to remember about the report, this woman who she listened to all the evidence from both sides, and the conclusion from her, this is the first person to say this, he did it.
Oh, really?
She is of the opinion that Deshaun Watson
is guilty.
He did this shit.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad she said it.
She said she looked at...
Has he made a statement about that? Has he done the Stephen Ross and say, I disagree, but out there?
No. And she breaks it down very, very clearly.
Okay.
Very, very clearly. She says a lot of things.
So he's got to understand that.
The investigation was conducted by 2 former prosecutors with decades of experience. Although Mr. Watson allegedly worked with more than 60 massage therapists during a 15-month period, the NFL only investigated the claims of 24. They only heard like 4 main cases. There's a 215-page investigative report. So this thing was extensive. And this woman was hired jointly by the NFL and the NFLPA. So this is not like she's picking a side here.
Yeah. So she said he did it, but y'all suck at holding people accountable. So according to your standard, he gets 6 games.
That's pretty much the gist. And she goes through this thing. Let's see if I can find some of the more. She says, I therefore find that the NFL has carried its burden to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that Mr. Watson engaged in sexual assault.
God damn.
Against the 4 women therapists identified in the report. So she says he did it. And this was really fascinating when it came out. And one of the first things that I did is I looked up in my podcast feed to find a Browns a Daily Browns podcast because I was like, I'm so curious.
What the fans
And
felt.
they went through this thing with a fine tooth comb, and they were like, he did it. She said he did it. And they had a really fascinating breakdown. It was a good listen, actually.
Okay,
Called the Black and Brown podcast or something.
Black
like
and
that.
Brown?
Something like that. Yeah, so the three accusations were essentially she was looking for, what was it? The three things that you're looking for in this case are...
Is it a the motive means opportunity thing?
No, it was
that's
the
a murder
three.
thing, yeah.
That's a murder thing. Where the fuck is it? She defines like essentially like, it's sexual assault. Yeah, violated 3 provisions. 1, sexual assault. 2, conduct that poses a genuine danger to the safety and well-being of another person. 3, conduct that undermines and puts at risk the integrity of the NFL. And she found him guilty on all 3 counts. All 3. Clearly. The one sort of thing that a lot of people were really upset about is that she makes this distinction in the report, almost kind of like, in some ways, I guess maybe reducing the severity of what Deshaun Watson did by claiming that it was nonviolent assault, right? And a lot of people kind of piped in and it's like, okay, fine, yeah, we get it. He didn't punch anybody, but isn't all sexual assault violence?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that was an interesting thing. But this woman just did everything by the book in a really interesting way. But one of the greatest things that she said, she keeps coming back to this idea. She says, I'm bound by standards of fairness and consistency of treatment among players similarly situated. By ignoring past decisions because none involve similar conduct, however, the NFL is not just equating violent conduct with non-violent conduct, but has elevated the importance of the latter without any substantial evidence to support its position. While it may be entirely appropriate to more severely discipline players for nonviolent sexual conduct, I do not believe it is appropriate to do so without notice of an extraordinary change this position pretends for the NFL and its players. So she's basically saying, if you, the NFL, want to punish someone like Deshaun Watson more severely for this conduct, then you need to change the language in your
own standards.
If you want to set it, she's like, I'm here to judge this case based on your existing standards.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you want to change those standards, then go do that.
Do that and come back. Yeah.
But I'm not going to do that for you. Which was kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
The conclusion is the best. The line in the whole thing that really struck me as the most interesting. She says, the NFL may be a, quote, forward-facing organization, but it's not necessarily a forward-looking one.
Oh.
Just as the NFL responded to violent conduct after a public outcry, she goes into the whole Ray Rice thing too. So it seems that the NFL is responding to yet another public outcry about Mr. Watson's conduct. Here, the NFL is attempting to impose a more dramatic shift in its culture without the benefit of fair notice to and consistency of consequences for those in the NFL subject to the policy. She's like, if you want to change this, go change it.
But they are who we thought they were.
That's what it comes down to. Man.
And she comes down with this 6-game suspension. And she says, although this is the most significant punishment ever imposed on an NFL player for allegations of nonviolent sexual conduct, Mr. Watson's pattern of conduct is more egregious than any before reviewed by the NFL.
Holy shit.
So that statement is the one that the NFL is clinging on to right now, as they are now have decided to appeal.
Yeah.
And
they're trying to change their shit.
And say, look, she said that this is the worst, most egregious ever, so that's what we're going for. So that's what they're doing. 3 days passed for them to appeal. They had 3 days to appeal, and that's exactly what they did.
Have they gone to change any language? Have they?
No, because I would imagine at the next owners meeting they will probably sit down and try to do that. But here's the thing. Well, actually, it's not about the owners meeting. That has nothing to do with it. It won't be able to happen because this is a language that is embedded in the last collectively bargained agreement between the league and the NFLPA. So those two sides need to come together in an attempt to change the language in this.
And they need to start holding owners accountable.
Absolutely.
It looks like they're trying now.
And
though,
that will be the argument that the NFLPA will have. And, and it's a weird thing. It's like, that this is not a hill that the NFLPA wants to die on, like defending Deshaun Watson. But the point that they raise is a pretty important point, right? Because the thing is that if you're saying that you want to treat owners and players alike, but then you don't, you can't. The thing is that first of all, they should remove the language in there that says that they should all be held to the same standard and treated alike, because they're not in the same situation. Owners can stay forever. Players come and go, right? You're a part-time employee as a player. Okay? Your career lasts for however many years, whatever it is.
Average of 3.
And, it's not that hard to find examples of, players being held to one standard and owners being held to another. It's like the most consistent thing you can possibly imagine.
It's crazy.
So the NFL has essentially shot themselves in the foot. So the reaction of the 6 games where everyone was like, what? 6 games? That's not enough. What people need to understand is that this is happening because of the NFL. Not in spite of, it's not like she did not go easy on Deshaun Watson.
She went as hard as she could.
She pointed out a very glaring issue with the league that needs to be solved. If you are suddenly going to wake up and decide to be this forward-looking or forward-facing organization, well, then you need to put that shit on paper.
Yeah, look forward in the mirror.
Yeah.
Face the mirror. Change your shit.
So now, currently, the Browns, as of yesterday, have announced that Deshaun Watson will play in their first preseason game, which is tonight?
Yeah.
Is it tonight?
I believe so.
Friday. We're recording this on Friday. I guess I just I gave up how the sausage was made. So there is some assumption that the league is really not happy about the idea of Deshaun Watson being on the football field. So it could be the case that we hear something today, because they definitely still they have indicated they still want the year.
If you're the Browns,
yep.
Do you take the year?
But
does that help the Browns? I'm talking about like outwardly, the way people look at the Browns. If they say, you know what, we looked at what she said, we understand. We kind of jumped the gun on this whole thing. He's talented. We're gonna try to get him some help. He's taking the year. We're gonna impose a yearly ban thing on him. Like you guys give him 8 games, the other was at 9. We'll take care of it. He's not gonna play, and we're gonna send him to therapy or some shit. You think that'll improve their? No, you think it's irreparable damage?
I mean, it's hard to say really, because
he
I
would
think
sue them for that. By the way,
yeah, and I think you have a lot of diehard Browns fans who don't give a shit.
I don't know, man.
No, I do know. I mean, he showed up. He shows up at training camp, and people are cheering for him the moment he walks out there. Kids are asking for his autograph. Like, I mean, he's out there. He everything at training camp looks completely normal.
Oh, okay. Probably feels good for him, man.
Yeah, of course.
Shit.
But I think, I mean, I know that there has been some exodus of the team. There's been a few notable kind of known people who have decided they're no longer Browns fans anymore.
Kareem Hunt.
Can you imagine what a dumbass Kareem? I'm sorry, Kareem Hunt. 2 days after the Deshaun Watson suspension news drops, Kareem Hunt walks into the front office and says, "I want a new contract, or I want to get traded." It's like, bro, we have some other shit that we're dealing with right now.
Kareem Hunt is a stand-up guy. What has he ever done wrong?
And not only that, the Browns basically like gave him a job when nobody else would give him a job for I mean, whatever. I'm on the fence about Kareem Hunt. I mean, he hit a woman in a hotel lobby. He claims that there was a racial element to it. Still, you shouldn't hit somebody. It's whatever. He deserves what he got. But at the same time, like the Browns were like willing to give him a chance to revamp his image, and he's done a great job. And the only way that you make these scandals go away is just by playing good football, right? So I think, to answer your question, I think the Browns, of course, they're not going to be happy if Deshaun Watson gets suspended for a year, but I think that they will. I mean, they're in this business; they know how this works. Suspend him for a year. Leak some stories throughout the year about all the therapy and the good work that he's doing, and
that's what I mean.
And you take the money that he's maybe is going to be part of this new thing. Like maybe he and even if he doesn't get fined any real money, maybe he takes a big chunk of money and donates it to like women's groups and all this other stuff. And then you put him on the field next year and he plays football and he plays well, and then eventually over time it goes away. Look at Ben Roethlisberger. Look at the day that Ben Roethlisberger retired from football this year. Okay? What happened on his last game at Heinz Field? Reporters come onto the guy's literally surrounded with love.
Oh, with
and
love.
People
Okay.
and reporters.
I thought you were going to say like there was some protests.
No.
Or something.
Like the idea that he had raped a girl two women, one of which where he raped her in a bar in Savannah, I think.
I don't know.
Somewhere in Georgia. Savannah or Macon or something, had a guy standing at the door to make sure
Blocking her
nobody
friends.
could go in, and raped her in a fucking nasty dive bar college place. And here we are standing around having a love fest because Big Ben's finally gonna retire. Man, what a hero. The way that this hero's, exit.
I'm totally embarrassed and totally ashamed.
Absolutely. So as long as you play football and you win championships and you win football games, eventually, yes, everyone will forget about the Deshaun Watson thing. Nobody really knows. When you remind people about Jameis Winston, people are like, oh, right, shit. That shit he did in college, that shit he did when he was with the Bucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people forget about all that shit too. So,
because he's such a great football player.
Yeah, exactly. He is. I can't wait to see him play this year.
Oh, me neither, man.
I mean, this is all very cynical stuff, and God, I kept thinking like, but as this Deshaun Watson thing has played out over the summer, I just couldn't help but think like, man, as a Falcons fan, I really feel like we dodged a bullet.
Dolphins were trying their best to get him.
Yeah, Dolphins were trying.
Our guy Stephen Ross, flying to meet him on the last day before the trade deadline, and I'm guessing that he was trying to pay. I think they're saying that he was trying to pay get him to settle with everybody to end it. Like, let's get these settlements. And Deshaun Watson didn't want to settle at first.
Poor Tua. This fucking guy.
Yeah, man.
Poor Tua. He's like, oh, you'd rather have either Tom Brady or a Predator. And somehow.
I'm right here, guys.
I'm here. Tyreek Hill says I'm the most accurate quarterback on the face of the planet. You guys haven't heard?
He's very accurate.
I think Tyreek's building him up a little much.
I don't know. He's pretty accurate.
We'll see. We'll see.
He didn't say he's the best quarterback. He just said the most accurate.
Yeah. When he's not being pressured, maybe.
I'm just saying, we'll see.
Guy could throw a grain of rice through a keyhole, man.
Yeah, man. I'm a Dolphins fan, baby. Oh man. Well, that's our Bad Boys episode.
Yeah.
Man. We got that off our chest, man.
I feel like we're caught up.
Yeah.
We're caught up on all the things that happened over the summer.
And now
including the Bad Boys stuff.
Yes.
And now next week we
gear up, baby.
Now next week we can set there's preseason games that are happening this weekend. We can start to kind of settle in. We can talk about, the Malik Willis hype.
You like that? You like that?
Malik Willis apparently is going to be the second coming of Michael Vick, according to the one preseason game that they just lost.
Better than that, baby.
Last night, right? They lose, and suddenly, like Malik Willis. Can you imagine? I'm telling you, bro. How many interceptions is it going to take before the Titans fans start screaming for Malik Willis? How many?
3.
3 in one game or 3?
I said 3.
3 overall.
3.
That's the,
6
what's the over under? Is it 3.5 or?
When they start doing that, it doesn't have to be interceptions. You know what it's gonna be?
Tell me.
Taking sacks. That's Ryan Tannehill's problem. His
right.
pocket presence and all that.
It's the Matty Ice special.
Yeah, he's gonna take some
Sack
sacks.
me out of field goal range.
Yeah. Tannehill holding ball too long, taking the sack, and they're gonna just be like, he should have scrambled.
Yeah.
Let's get Malik in there.
Yeah.
That's what's gonna happen.
It
won't be picks. It'll be sacks.
It'll be picks and sacks.
Picks and don't let sack fumble. The first sack fumble recovered by the other team. They're gonna be Malik.
The most popular guy on the team is the backup quarterback.
Malik.
Yeah.
You the real MVP.
Yeah, let's go. It's gonna be like what was that guy? Mike fucking White.
Yeah.
Remember Mike White?
Mike White.
He was the best quarterback on the face of the planet
until he had
for
to
like
play
a
2
for like a
games.
week.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Well, didn't he throw like 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
And then after that, he regressed to the mean.
Mike White. Where are they now?
But yeah, that's been this episode of the Bad Boys. We'll be back soon, gearing up for this season, the 2022 season. Really gonna be awesome. I can't wait. And we're gonna come to you with some breakdowns of what we think is to come, and then we're gonna make our bet, man. And we can't do any better than we did last year with our divisional bet unless we hit it, because we got 7 out of 8 correct.
I think we're bound to do
on
worse.
division winners. Yeah, we are going to do worse.
We're going to do worse.
There's no way we hit them all. I can't believe we got 7 out of 8.
I think we'll be like the Bengals Super Bowl hangover. You know what I mean? Like, we got so close.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh.
Speaking of the Bengals, that's the team that took us out.
I know. But they're not winning that division this year. I can already tell you that.
Ravens are going to win it.
I think so too.
But we'll go through.
We'll get into that later. But I feel convinced of that one.
Speaking of getting in it, get into our fantasy league. We're trying to gather people so that we can have enough for an A-team league and then a relegation league. So if you want, or we'll call it the Big Dog League. We'll have a Big Dog League and a relegation league. So if you don't make the playoffs in the Big Dog League, you get relegated, and then work your way back up and all that stuff. I think it'll be fun. So just join us on Patreon, patreon.com/SveNFL, and then join the league. And the prize money out there for the winner take all, 2,000 crowns.
Oh, shit.
And there's nothing to join besides your, Patreon.
Right.
But you get 2,000 crowns if you win. If I win again, because we did, me and my brother, Champ, we won, then it just goes to next year's pot.
Right.
Or if you win, which is what's going to happen, right? We won't take the money, right?
But I'm going to spend my money on drugs.
My bad. Well, I know what I'm doing with mine if I win. Skip's taking that shit. But if I win again, then
I'm going to get high.
Nothing like 2,000 crowns worth of meth.
Let's go. I don't need these teeth anyhow.
If you're playing from the U.S., I'll eat soup. If you're playing from the U.S., get PayPal so I can pay you if you win. But we'll figure that out.
Do we have somebody playing in the U.S.?
Yeah, Ken's up there. Oh, did he?
Is
play?
he in our? He wasn't in our fantasy.
Oh, he didn't make
league
it in time, but he's gonna play this time.
He's got to play this time.
Yeah, so he's over there. Jason's there, but it's not. Oh, Sean. Oh no, Sean. He has a Swedish account. Oh, that's beside the point. Thanks for checking this episode out of SveNFL. We're gonna be back soon. It's been Jonathan Rollins
and Skip Musara,
and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Later, y'all.